Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 97 Republic YouTube channel, where I react to UFC news, live events, basically just anything related to the UFC. So I kindly ask that if you enjoy the video, a friendly reminder to click the like button. If you want to become a part of this channel, feel free to click the subscribe button. And if you don't want to miss out on anything, you want to stay up to date, feel free to click the notification bell. All of this really contributes to the growth of this channel. I would really appreciate it, and I hope you enjoy this one. At UFC 314, Paddy Pimblett saw Michael Chandler at the top, and then he kicked him off the mountain, disposed of him, in what was Paddy's biggest win inside of his UFC career up until now, also his best performance within the UFC up until now, and ended up beating Michael Chandler more convincingly than Charles Oliveira could in their last fight, than Dustin Poirier could, than Justin Gaethje could, and then proceeded to call out anyone within the top 5. When he had his Octagon interview with Joe Rogan, proceeded to call out Justin Gaethje, Dustin Poirier, Charles Oliveira, and to quote the little posh boy Arman. And honestly, I think Paddy beats 3 of them. When looking at the matchup, I think it's a favorable matchup for Paddy Pimblett. And Paddy beats 3 of them, finally getting the recognition he deserves. I think he beats one of those 3 that I'll mention, and then probably fights for the title. Because Dana White alluded to the fact that Paddy might already be in a title conversation. Now, I do feel like personally it's too early. Have him fight someone in the top 5 and then he's ready. However, it is difficult because I don't really see anyone in the top 5 jumping at the possibility of fighting Paddy Pimblett, except for one guy, which I will also get into later. I think Paddy beats Charles Oliveira, and there's a few things to look at. Now, we can say that Charles has better Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu because, Charles has the most submission wins in the lightweight division, so we can say that his level of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is better than Paddy Pimblett's, right? But is he a better striker? I would say so in the past, definitely. But after the Islam fight, it looked like Charles lost confidence with regards to his striking. Due to the fact that Islam was able to knock him down, submit him, we didn't see his striking being as good as it usually was when he fought Arman Tsarukyan, and the same applies when he fought Michael Chandler. So I think with regards to striking, I think Paddy has the upper hand. With regards to durability, Paddy has the upper hand. With regards to conditioning and cardio, it feels like Paddy has the upper hand. Now, not eating himself to oblivion, taking his conditioning a little bit more serious. He doesn't go over the top when he's out of camp the way he used to. I think all of these things contribute to the evolution of Paddy Pimblett. With regards to wrestling, I feel like he is a better wrestler than Charles Oliveira. I think he will be fine trying to take Charles down. Won't be scared of his submission game from the bottom. I just feel like, take age into account as well, feels like Paddy has the advantage if he faces Charles Oliveira. Wherever the fight takes place, I feel like Paddy would be comfortable. Whether it's on the feet, he would basically just start chopping at Charles's legs, using those calf kicks, which he's used against Bobby Green, effectively used against Michael Chandler, and basically also keep him at the end of his jabs, at the end of his kicks, really dictating range. I think it's a favorable matchup for Paddy Pimblett. Honestly, I think Paddy beats Charles Oliveira. I genuinely do, due to everything that I said, due to the fact that I don't feel like Paddy could get exposed by Charles Oliveira or by anyone in general. He is really that good, and not to mention his fight IQ is insane. He genuinely has a feel for a fight and where a fight is heading towards with regards to momentum, with regards to transitions, and just really an impressive contender within the lightweight division. Then next up, I think he beats Dustin Poirier and Justin Gaethje as well, and for the same reason. Both of those guys, both Justin and Dustin, would feel like they have a considerable advantage on the feet. Don't think that they would want to take Paddy down due to the fact that Paddy has really good Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and Paddy is really good at scrambling, especially in transitions on the ground. Feels like he could end up at top at any given moment, the same way he did against Michael Chandler. Now, Chandler somewhat jumped the gun, went on his back, went too high, and then basically just slid off. But if if you end up in that situation, you're in danger. Because we saw with Michael Chandler that Paddy Pimblett is really capable of delivering some, hellacious ground and pound. And there's also a massive submission threat. Against Michael Chandler, started off with an arm triangle, didn't get it, but then basically just progressed and got into Michael's guard more effectively, went into side control. He's really tricky on the ground, and I think that would be a problem for Justin Gaethje and Dustin Poirier. That's why they would prefer the fight playing out on the feet. However, with that being said, I don't think either one of them would be able to knock Paddy Pimblett out. We saw Paddy eat a few flush punches from Michael Chandler, and Michael packs power. And Paddy looked unfazed by it. Whenever he got caught, didn't look like it bothered him at all. His face didn't wear a single scratch. In the post-fight press conferences with Paddy Pimblett, looked like he came out of a training session. They're fresh, unblemished. So I don't think Justin Gaethje nor Dustin Poirier would be able to knock Paddy out. Now sure, they would present their own problems for Paddy to solve, but I think Paddy solves it. If we look at Dustin Poirier, when he fought Benoit Saint-Denis, Benoit put a beating on Dustin in the first round. That's why it was so insane when Dustin knocked him out in the second round, due to the fact that it was a big comeback. It looked dire for Dustin Poirier, and I think Paddy would look at that fight and take a lot out of that fight and how to wear Dustin Poirier down. I think Paddy would present way more problems than Benoit Saint-Denis if Paddy is in that same position and has Dustin Poirier at his weight. So I just feel like he would basically use the same method whether he fights Justin Gaethje or Dustin Poirier. Stay on the outside, stay safe, he'll kick at the legs, have him at the end of his jab, and then whenever it gets to that point, Paddy's fight IQ is really good. So he would basically be able to see what this fight requires of him, where this fight is leading towards, and basically just change it so it serves in his purpose. So basically take down Justin Gaethje or try and just grapple Justin Gaethje, wear him out, take away a lot of that power by fatiguing Justin Gaethje, having him fatigue. I think Paddy beats both of them. And with regards to Justin Gaethje, as much as Michael Chandler, not looking at prior to the UFC or prior to their mixed martial arts careers, I'm talking about the way they fight. The way they fight within their mixed martial arts professional careers. They're considered fighters, or they are fighters that are considered wrestlers. So they fight like strikers, and they have a wrestling background. Now, even though the background is insane and they have all of the credentials, with both of them being very good at a collegiate state, they don't fight like that. Justin Gaethje, Michael Chandler don't really use a lot of their wrestling due to the fact that it wears them down, makes them tired. Arman Tsarukyan is a wrestler that is considered a fighter. It's way different due to the fact that Arman really uses his wrestling. It is the foundation on which he fights. He wants to use his wrestling. He wants to dominate people on the ground. Whenever he fought, even Islam Makhachev, he presented problems to Islam Makhachev. When he fought Charles Oliveira, was comfortable taking Charles down. Wasn't scared of the threat of Charles submitting him from his back due to the fact that his control is so good. And he knows what is expected of him. Now sure, he wasn't too, somewhat deep submissions by Charles. The one I think was a DOS and the other one was a guillotine, if I'm not mistaken. He wasn't fazed by it. Didn't look like he was in real trouble. And I think he would approach it the same way when he fights Paddy. I think Paddy would be confident, comfortable, being on his back, thinking that he could maybe exploit a weakness of Arman Tsarukyan, and then he blinks, the bell goes, and the first round's done. Paddy was on his back the whole round. I genuinely think Arman Tsarukyan is that good and presents such a big problem for Paddy Pimblett due to the fact that Arman will use his wrestling. Paddy would have the upper hand on the feet, according to me, but Arman would basically just use his wrestling the same way that he used it against Oliveira. And Arman is really muscular, really big guy for lightweight. So that just benefits his wrestling, especially his top game. And I just don't see Paddy just solving that problem, because Arman will dictate where that fight takes place. And his wrestling is clean. His wrestling is so clean. He won't make the same mistake Michael Chandler did, getting onto the back, getting too high. Arman somewhat plays it safe with regards to his wrestling. but it wins him fights. And that, I think that is a problem for Paddy Pimblett. But how insane would it be if Paddy Pimblett welcomes Ilia Topuria to lightweight? We have that fight would feed nations. Every single fan in the world will tune into that fight. Every single one. We will have people cancelling weddings to watch that fight. Ilia Topuria, Paddy Pimblett beef that goes back a long time. Ilia calling Paddy fat, Paddy calling Ilia a midget. Just a lot of beef surrounding this fight, and that fight would be insane. Ilia wouldn't take it. I don't think Ilia would take it. I don't think it's because he's scared. I just feel like Ilia feels like he has more to lose than to win if he fights anyone that isn't the champion. So I don't think Ilia takes a fight if it's not for the belt. But Ilia versus Paddy would have been, that's one to write down. Probably one that we'll never see, but we deserve to see it. It would feed, it could stop a pandemic.